It has been a bit of a day. Had asthma issues, we have a vertigo coughing, we had order issues for dinner. I am so glad it's almost over. So hello and welcome to domytriesthis. I hope you brought your cuppa. Today's coffee mug is You Can Call Me Queen coffee mug, which we usually use for sample queens, which is actually somewhat appropriate for today. And today's tea is the a mix that I haven't had in a long time. We've been trying so many different teas. Between our Sips Buy and the stuff that we've been buying from Kroger, that I haven't tried some of my old favorites. I got a big, huge crate of my old stash favorites. I haven't touched them in months. And today we're going to go back to the Stash Chocolate Hazelnut, and we've mixed it with the Stash Vanilla Nut Cream. Now this is a somewhat larger mug. It's probably at least 12 ounces, possibly closer to 16. So I don't know how these flavors are going to work in this particular coffee mug because it is so big, but we're going to give her a sip and then we're going to get started. Ugh, smells so good. You can smell the chocolate. That's beautiful. We are still really hot. We just started steeping, but I am getting the chocolate just fine in there. Love it. So today I am doing another review of some sample items. A couple of them are no longer sample size because I bought the big ones, which should tell you something. At any rate, not too long ago, I bought a bunch of the $5 Alikay Naturals samples. Just wanted to get a broad variety of their things. Now, the first thing I need to tell you is some of these things I've only tried once. I have one product that I picked up, I think, later when I did an order for the larger sizes of the two products I wanted to get more of, and I ended up not using that one at all. It was a consistency thing. So we are trying the Alikay Naturals, and I'm going to go in the order that I actually used them and let you know what I'm doing with them now. Basically, for most of them, they will not be kept. However, the first one is the Co-Wash Me Cleansing Conditioner. This was a surprise. I honestly wasn't expecting much from it. It thins out to not quite water, but close with the milkiness once in the hair. Lots of slip, no suds. As you guys know, I prefer at least a little bit of sudsiness. I like to know how, to me, that's a sign that it's working. No suds, and I felt like I had to use more of it than I usually would. Not a big deal, honestly, since I use very small amounts of most products anyway. I really do. I use very tiny amounts. It seems like I have a lot of hair. Well, one, I don't. I do have... Let me put it, I have a medium amount of hair. It looks like a lot. It's a lot less than what it looks like. Curls can do that. These kittens have been nuts. At any rate, they go crazy about this time every night. It's weird. But at any rate, so I don't use a lot of any product that allows me to stretch things out. I go very light on most of my washes if I can. I go light on all my stylers. I mean, just seriously, one pump for 1/4 of my hair, or you know, somewhere around there, if I can. So honestly, having to use just a little bit more would not bother me that much because I already don't use that much. I was really surprised at how clean my hair was when I rinsed, cleaner than the EBW Coconut Shea, but my hair wasn't stripped or dried out at all. Not a single tangle and no drying, not even at the ends. So I was really surprised, but would I purchase this again? Probably not. And that has more to do with price. I do believe this is like a $13 or $14 product. And my Shea Moisture works really well on my hair. It does cleanse my hair really nicely. And it is only $10. So I like to save a little money. I have been mixing this in with my Shea Moisture recently to try to use this up because I mean, these were only $5 a piece, but I don't want to, you know, I'm dumping a lot of them anyway. I want to keep and use up as much as I can of what I got because money. But it mixes fairly well with that. I do find that it does make it so that the Shea Moisture isn't as sudsy, but my hair does feel clean. It doesn't feel dry. So this is a really good product. It's just the price point. Since I have something that I like and that works at a lower price point, that's the only breaker. If this was, the same price, I might pick it up on a more repeated basis. But since it's not the same price, and I do believe you get less with this. I believe this is an 8 ounce, and I believe with my Shea Moisture, I get between 10 and 16 somewhere, I think. So for less price, I can still have decent hair, and I'm happy with it. So I do recommend this if you're looking for something that's really cleansing and you don't have a concern about spending more money to get that cleansing thing going on. But for me, I won't be repurchasing, I don't think, anytime soon. Like I said, it was a surprise. I really enjoyed it. I didn't like the fact that there was no lather. I much prefer the lather, so that's another thing. But beyond that, if you don't mind not having a lather and you want your hair soft and clean between shampoos, this will do it for you. So my next item is the Avocado Cream Moisture Repair Mask. If there is one item in the Alikay Naturals that you buy, make it this. Make it this. It has a Pixie Glow Tonic to Go lid on it because my wonderful son, whom I love dearly, was cleaning the bathroom and somehow managed to knock a whole bunch of stuff off the shelf, and the lid broke. And trust me, I was really upset because I have an Uidad scalp cleanser thing, and it went all over the floor. And that stuff ain't cheap. But at any rate, I love this stuff. It was the first thing that I went, yes, I need to have more of. It thins out almost as much as the co-wash. It has no hold. How to explain this? Has no hold in the way of a lot of masks and stuff. You put a mask, masks usually tend to be very heavy and very thick. So you put them in your hair and you comb them through, and then you can wrap your hair up and put your hair on top of your head, and they will actually hold it there and while they're doing their thing. This one does not have that kind of hold. It does look like it would have that kind of hold, and the bright colors are something else too. Honestly, you'll see more. But this does not have that kind of hold. It has lots of slip. It rinsed out easily. It left my hair smooth without any excess slickness to it. A lot of times we talk about slip, and slip is how easily you can run your fingers through your hair, how slippery or slick it is. A lot of times I feel like products that have a lot of slip, a lot of that slip is from residue they left on your hair. And if they have dimethicone, it's from the dimethicone or the amodimethicone or any of those cones. They will leave a residue. They will leave behind a barrier on your hair, and those will help create that slip. This doesn't have any of that stuff. None of these have any of the things I hate in them, and it still left a lot of slip, but it did not have that over slick, slippery kind of feeling to it. It rinsed out easily and left my hair smooth without any excess slickness. It felt like the mask had soaked in and all the extra just rinsed right out, because it felt like my hair but smoother. It's the best explanation I could come with, because most masks leave a silkiness without a residue. This doesn't. They don't quite feel like your hair. I mean, it does, but it feels like, it's hard to explain. It's not like you can feel like, oh, there's a barrier on my hair, but it feels a little different than your hair. Just like I said, it's like a silkiness, and but you don't feel like there's a residue or a barrier or anything on your hair. This does not do that. This is just basically my hair feeling soft and smooth and moisturized. I noticed my hair had fewer flyaways than I've seen in a while too. As you can see, I got the full size. I love this mask. I have currently, I think, 5 masks open. 6 if you count the protein treatment that I have. So I have 6 masks open, and of them, there's maybe half that I would repurchase at this point, maybe 4 of them. But this would definitely be at the top of the list, just because of how it made my hair feel, how it reduced the number of flyaways. It has quite all the good ingredients. Avocado has protein and all those things in it. So I highly recommend this. If you can afford a mask, this is the one to get. This is the one to get, and I bet you it would work really well on straight hair too. So highly, 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 highly recommended. The scent of both of these were much lighter when used than when right out of the jar. So you open this up, it has a fresh but somewhat almost perfumey scent to it, and it seems like it would be a little strong, but once you put it in the hair, you don't get that on either one of these. And this one has a very strong coconut scent when it comes straight out of the bottle, but once it goes into your hair, you're not sensing or feeling any of that, smelling any of that. They do not overlay each other, and so they're very light. They're very light. However, the more that I use these products together, these samples that I got, the stronger that some of these scents became for some of them, and it became unpleasant for some of them. And there's one of them that I wouldn't buy. Just sorry, Alikay. Anyway, after these two, I did not use my usual Adwo Bayonet Leave-In Styler or Coconut Shea Elixir. I went on to a couple of other things that are part of the brand, because as you know, I try to use the one brand or one line together. The only thing that I normally use is my Coconut Shea Elixir, because that is that's my extra moisture and reduced frizz product. In this case, I didn't do that. The next thing I tried was the Shea Yogurt Hair Moisturizer. I tried to use this as a leave-in. It's kind of like the Eden Body Works Papaya Castor in the texture. So it has a much harder texture, and you pull some of it out, and then you can rub some of it over your fingers, and it comes out like an oil when you do that. So I tried to use this as a leave-in and probably shouldn't have. Should have aborted it. I really should have. So far, one of my least favorite products. It's probably second to last at this point. My least favorite is, anyway, it's coming. It doesn't really oil up like the Eden Body Works, and it pulled as I applied it, and it didn't feel like it did much moisturizing. So this is a no-go for me. Some of it has to do with the consistency of it. In fact, there's another one that has that same hard, the one that I said that I purchased and never used, has that same hard consistency because I opened it, and it does the same thing and where it oils up on your fingers. So it's probably good to use, I don't know, like when I would use it in place of my conditioning hairdress or something. However, I really like the conditioning hairdress, so I'm not going to replace that. And so this one is a no for me. The smell isn't bad. As you can see, the color is really bright and turmeric-y. It does have sort of a perfumey scent. But yeah, that's a no. So another one, when I followed that up with the Crème Brulee Curling Delight, this is one of their biggest sellers. This is a curling cream. As you can see, it's a very bright yellow. It has the curling cream consistency, and that it's very creamy and moisturizing and smooth and all of that stuff. Wasn't impressed. And I'm sad to say that, because seriously, when you hear everybody talking about particular products and going, oh, this product is so good, you really want it to be good for you too. I didn't find this one to be good for me too. Like most of the other products, it rubbed out to an almost watery consistency, not quite that thin, but definitely lighter than I'm used to. And when it applied, it honestly didn't look like it did anything. A lot of times when I apply my curl creams on my wet hair, I'm raking them in, like my body butter in particular does this. I rake it in, which kind of straightens out the hair, but if it's a really good curling cream, even though I've raked it in and straightened out my hair, the ends will start curling up on their own from whatever the cream is doing. It didn't, no. I might have gotten a little bit of a wave when I scrunched, but otherwise it really didn't do anything for me. I guess it's just my hair. It might be something that somebody with a type 4 hair wouldn't have an issue with, but for me, it really didn't help. So not another one that I would recommend. Next was the Aloe Berry Gel, and this one is another one that is a full size that I'm going to be using forever. This is the styling gel. This is really nice. This is another one that is worth the full surprise if you're going to be using gel, especially since the price is fairly reasonable. It's lightweight. It's light enough to reapply as necessary while diffusing. It appears to have a closer to a medium hold. I don't know what it says on here. What hole do you say you have? Now you have freedom to style your hair without fear of drying from a traditional styling gel. This tropical scented gel is made with natural aloe vera botanicals and essential oils to hydrate your hair. It's an alcohol-free blend, offers medium hold, which keeps hair in place so your hair gets benefits of all-day hold and moisture in one application. So this is a very lightweight gel. Has a medium hold. It dries very quickly without becoming crunchy. I wouldn't say my hair was soft, but it wasn't dry, and the curl clumps were easily separated without running into what I call gel knots. Gel knots, gel when it goes into your hair, one of the things it does is it helps clump your hair together in addition to helping hold the curls. And because you're clumping your hair together, they kind of stick, which makes it a little harder to fluff them out later, which is one of the reasons why I use oil. You use oils, your curl is supposedly held in place because you've had the gel in, and the gel is dried, so the curl knows what it's supposed to do. So you put the oil in place to loosen that up and scrunch out that crunch, so to speak. For heavier gels, you would get that stiff heaviness. You don't get a stiff heaviness with this, but you still get that we're stuck together thing. And there were few of those with this because the clumps were much smaller, I would say. It's not to say there aren't any. The sad thing is, I do like this gel. Let me preface this. If I were going to continue using gel, this would be the gel that I would buy because it is so lightweight. It doesn't weigh down my curls. It works really well for my hair. However, I am now working on phasing gel out of my routine, so I've used this recently to hold updos and stuff like that. I can use it for that. It doesn't necessarily have the kind of strength to it. I have some shorter pieces in here that will slip out of an Invisibobble or whatever, and this does not necessarily have the strength to keep them up there. However, it does work for early in the day. It does seem to lose some of that hold as I go on. I am not sure if that's the gel or if that's my hair. I'd be more likely inclined to blame my hair because my hair is a very loose and light and soft curl, and I would probably have to use a much firmer gel than I would like to use to keep things in place. So I don't like those hard hold things going on. But that said, if I were going to continue using gel, this would be the gel that I would continue to purchase. I was initially concerned how my curl would come out because my hair wasn't as wet out of the towel. I did end up spraying it the first time I used these, but it still wasn't as wet. And because of misusing the moisturizer, but the curl and the volume was actually as good or better than usual. There were a few spots with less curl, other than my usual section in the back and my grays. They were very small and scattered, so practically unnoticeable. And many areas were more tightly curled, and the frizz factor was actually about or less than my normal frizz. Though I didn't use the elixir. Pretty surprised and impressed with those overall, with the exceptions that I've named. So if I weren't such an Eden Body Works fan that I am now, I would get the co-wash, I would get the avocado cream mask, and I would get the berry gel. Those would be my two biggest recommendations. The curling cream was okay, but I think there are better ones. And I have some with hold now that I actually really much appreciate because I don't have to use gel anymore, so I don't have to apply an extra product to my hair if I don't want. But it was okay. It wasn't horrible. It just wasn't. It just, when my hair was wet, it just didn't seem to do what a lot of curl creams do and encourage the curl from the moment I put it on. So that would be my only reservation about this one. So then I had 3 others that I went ahead and tried. They also have, in the same line as this co-wash, they have a Caribbean coconut milk shampoo and a Caribbean coconut milk conditioner, and then in addition to those I tried the honey and sage deep conditioner. So the coconut milk shampoo, This sudsed up right away and a lot, but there's no slip. Worse, this left my hair feeling dry and tangled when rinsed out. Even the watery consistency didn't bother me, but I won't use it again. My hair, as I mentioned before, rarely tangles. When it does, it's because it's, it's actually dry and it's been styled and we have gel on there kind of helping that out. Or it's because whatever product I used on my wet hair has dried out my hair and it tangles up when it's dried out from whatever product. This dried out my hair and tangled it. So this is a no for me. Next is this Honey and Sage Deep Conditioner. Like most of the other products, this melted into my hair like water. Lots of slipped, and it helped with the dryness left behind by the shampoo. My hair felt really slick when I rinsed it out. Not like a residue, but also not like my hair, like I was trying to talk about earlier, how your hair feels like when it's your hair or how it feels like when it's really slick are two different things, and how it feels like when it's slick but there's a residue or a barrier on top. Those are three different sensations, at least for me. I can tell the difference. So it didn't have that residue type sense, but it didn't feel like it was just my hair. It was more slippery. The biggest problem is the scent. I could barely tolerate it for the 3 minutes of the normal conditioning before I had to rinse it out. And even then the smell hung on, even though through the rest of my shower, overwhelming the other stuff I use. I won't be using this again. Obviously the conditioning and the moisturizing part of it is very good, because if my hair was so dried out that it was tangling, but this helped take care of it, it's good for that. But I cannot stand the scent. I just can't. It's good, and if you don't have a problem with scents in your hair care or whatever, your skincare and all that, feel free. But it was just too much for me. I just couldn't. I just can't. Like I said, it was so strong. It literally overwhelmed everything that I used afterwards. The next thing after that was the coconut milk conditioner. This helped with the dryness on my ends that were left by the early rinse out of the mask. I didn't keep the mask on the whole time. I just couldn't. It was too much. But I still felt it needed more of my leave-in than usual, so my hair was still pretty dry. Now, to be fair, it was fighting a lot more dryness on my first use than usual, but also tells me probably wouldn't have encountered the shampoo on its own. With this particular trio, I used my usual stylers, which means as the conditioner goes flying away, I used the the Adwa Beomint leave-in conditioning styler. I used my I've got stuff all over the floor. I used my Eden Body Works Coconut Shea products. I used my usual styling creams. The only thing I used differently was the berry gel instead of whatever gel I was using at the time, which honestly I don't remember. I used the berry gel instead, and I'm so glad it did. It finally reduced the scent of that mask. My hair started off damper than it had with the co-wash combo, but a little drier than usual. I diffused as usual, layering with more gel. The end result with this mix wasn't as good as with the co-wash me mix, but that's no surprise. Your wash forms the foundation of your hair and your hair styling for the day, and this wash wasn't good because it dried out my hair. The Eden Body Works elixir probably saved me from being a frizzy mess. The back was straighter than usual too, which makes me wonder if it's drier and or less porous than the rest of my hair. So overall, if I were looking for products to purchase, I would get the Co-Wash Me. I would pick up the avocado mask, the gel. Those would be my first ones. The Crème Brulee is kind of I would say try it and see how it does on your hair, because my hair is weird. So it may work on your hair, and there's a lot of people who loved it. I would suggest getting the small samples, which I really appreciate that Alikay has. They have the small samples for you to use. So you could try this, but I think you would be happy with the co-wash and the avocado mask and the aloe berry gel for sure. The Crème Brulee and the coconut conditioner, I think would be, I don't know, up to you. So overall, I'm actually glad that I got to try this line. I'm very happy they have the $5 samples. If you're interested in them, pick up a $5 sample and see if it'll work on your hair before you go in, because most of their other stuff is anywhere from, most of the prices will be listed down below for the full sizes, but I think most of them run $12 to $18 for 8 to 12 ounces, I think. And they have a few larger sizes, you know, that are higher prices. I think they have some at 22, but I think those are for 16 ounces, I think. Like I said, I'll list all that information down below. But it's a good idea to try something like this in sample sizes first to make sure it is not going to cause issues with your hair. Your hair is going to like it. You're going to like it. The smell isn't going to drive you crazy. Whatever. So I really appreciate that Alikay has these smaller samples, because had I tried to buy all of these, had I tried to sample the brand and could only buy the full sizes, I wouldn't be able to give you as much on a wider. The number of products would have been less. I can talk. I swear I can talk. I know what I'm trying to say. So overall, like most brands that have, particularly that have a lot of products, it's hit or miss, and it's gonna be hit or miss for you too. I did want to try the lemongrass line. However, I found that most of those products had glycerin in them, and I'm still not using glycerin. My hair. Anyway, my hair being weird, being its thing. Anyway, so I hope that this is a good overview of some of the products from Alikay, and I hope it helps you decide whether or not you want to try any out. Anyway, that is it for the day, and I hope you like what you've seen, and if you do like what you've seen, I hope you will subscribe. When you subscribe, please hit that notification bell so you know when I upload. I currently upload 2 days a week. That would be Monday and Thursday. However, we do have bonus videos. We occasionally do. We've been doing them every month since the pandemic started. The indie brand openings. We also have, my son opens a box. We are switching out whatever box it's going to be. The My Geek box removed the t-shirt. It's no longer as good of a, bye Gambit. It's no longer as good of a box, so now we're hunting down another geeky box just for him. He may, I mean, we've seen a few things. We've seen one that's like purely Star Trek or something, but we're trying to avoid Loot Crate, and now my geek box is kind of fallen down. So hopefully his dad will find something soon, and you'll be able to see that too, because I know he has his fans on here who love him very much. Don't worry, we're going to try to figure something out for him. Honest. Even if I have to start buying little things for him so he can just open them. We'll just figure it out. We'll figure it out. I buy my husband a t-shirt every month. We'll figure it out for my son too. And if you send anything, we also open that as a bonus video, unless you don't want me to. If you don't want me to, just leave a note in the box, or you can join the domytriesthis Facebook group, which is listed down below. And you can tell me on there that you have sent something, but you do not want to be embarrassed by me opening it on the channel, and I will honor your request. Promise. I'm telling you, the cats have lost their minds. If you're part of my notification squad, please check both your subscription and your bell to make sure they're both still active. I don't know about the bell thing. I'm not getting emails. Hopefully YouTube will fix it soon. And if you choose not to subscribe, well, I'd be sad. I'd be disappointed. Especially if you keep coming back. If you keep coming back, subscribe. Help a girl out. Just subscribe. You keep coming back, so just subscribe. But if you choose not to subscribe, I'll deal with it. It'll be fine. But you're always welcome back here, and when you do come back again, don't forget to bring your cup of tea. All right, so we have sat here for at least 35 minutes, I think. 35 minutes. Doesn't matter what the editing thing says. The edited time on the video is very different than what I got. anyway, gonna go ahead and give it a sip, and then we'll be on our way. Oh, goodness. Our coffee cup is a little bit big for it. I can tell it is slightly diluted, but I am getting both the flavors of the chocolate and the vanilla, so it's very, very good. Stash really is one of my favorites. I just have to double bag it. Good thing it's a bit more affordable than some of the stuff I get in the Sips By. Love the Sips By, but some of those teas are kind of scary. Really scary. Stash you can get for $3 to $5, $3 to $4 at your grocery store. A lot of the teas in the Sips By are much more expensive than that. At any rate, that is it for the day. Hope you have a good one.